Let me tell you what, it's good to see you, good to hear you sing.
Thanks.
For those who don't know, by the way, last time niliona Joyce vizuri sana, tulikuwa America.
Imagine.
Oh, mlikuwa?
Yeah, we were in America just there.
For reals, we're not just being judged.
Yeah, like it's true.
Like, oh, like for real.
Like it's for real. Nilikuwa nimeenda huko na sikuwa najua my way around.
Unajua pia kwenyu ni United States of...
Yeah, we must get it. Not UK.
Not
United Kisumu.
Oh, okay.
No. America, Barack Obama.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so alinisaidia sana tulikuwa huko.
Imagine, tulienda ma tours, we did the whole tourist thing in DC.
Almost got lost in a train.
That's true.
But God knew so.
Good time.
So welcome.
Thank you.
I'd like to know, I was thinking about it as I was coming through.
Yeah.
What I wanted to ask you was, what is the difference between Joyce wa Niamini and Joyce wa Jibu?
Where? Hey, that's a loaded question because so much happened in between those two songs. Actually, the day that Naamini was released, that same day we had to take my dad to hospital. And he didn't leave for 6 months and then he passed away. So by the time I was coming to sing Jibu, like I'd gone through some valleys and some lows, and it was, I wouldn't lie, I mean, I was even questioning like, hey God, are you really good? You know, like, do you care? Why would you let this happen? All of those things. And I think it's important to say that so that people don't look at us and think, you know, it's always just Nyue like that with faith. Like, I had a bit of a crisis and I was just very upset, very bitter. And this song I'd actually started writing while he was in the hospital. And it was, at that time it was, God, you're the answer. Forget these doctors, you're the one who's going to heal him. You know, but by the time I was releasing the song after going through just the process of grief, it was really, now the song became, I still don't understand why this happened, but I'm gonna trust you anyways. I'm gonna trust that whatever the reason, it is a good one, and I can still count on you. I can still give you my life and trust that you will take care of me, that God's got me. That's like my hashtag, God's got me. And so I know that there are many things I'll face in the future that I won't understand, but I'm just choosing to believe that he has been the answer to my tears, my heartbreak. You know, I spent 2021 crying like the whole year. So even just to be standing here today and to be able to say God is good, that's him being able to lift me up, and he's the only answer for that, because there's no other way to explain it.
I guess that's the other thing also, like when you write the song, different parts speak to different people. Of course, for me, definitely, see, having gone through something almost similar with my daughter, is that part when you said even in grief, you know, you're still kind of the answer. So that is, it's not kind of, you are the answer, but that is, it's tough. So I guess then the answer is always just write songs based on, you know, vitu napitia at the time. That way it ministers to people, right? I
think so. I mean, and there's always like a fear about, you know, how vulnerable can you be, right? Because you just never know. Pia ni Kanairo. You never know, like, some guys will just run off with your story and with your, because these are real emotions, you know, like I'm not making this up. I wouldn't want to use such a tough experience, you know, for just personal gain or whatever. So, but certainly my songs are very much written on my experience. Conqueror, the song that literally launched my music experience, was from my dad's story, having survived the bomb blast. And so he's just been so integral to my music journey, from the very first song up until this very latest one.
And so now, you know, despite the question that Lau asked us,
I am not running from it.
Which we will get to in terms of seeking public office.
Oh my Lord!
But still, you know, still in the topic of music. So now, of course, the Jibu is out, and the response has been amazing. What are you planning? I always say, plan siku tricky, especially around March. Because you know what happened 2 years ago on a random March, everybody was like, yo, this is our year, we got this, and then boom, COVID happened. So what's the plan? Like
music-wise?
Musically, music-wise.
Music-wise, I certainly hope to produce and release more music. I mean, it's been, Naamini was over a year ago, so Jibu is the first one in a very long time. There are people I'd love to collaborate with. So really just trying out different things, different sounds, but most of all just kind of putting my heart out there in the hopes that it's blessing somebody and lifting them up as well. Yeah.
What about, so like when you pick a producer, I noticed that we were still alive.
Yeah, we've done like the last two songs, Naamini and Jibu. I don't know, you know, I'm it's bad, but like I'm one of those people, like if I feel comfortable and someone gets me, like, oh, like why you look somewhere else? So actually my first album was all with, but I think those ones because I was working on albums. My first album was all with Gideon Kimanzi. Second album was with Dominic Kaimba. And now I'm kind of just exploring these singles. And Still Alive, Tim has been easy to work with, and he does great music. He's very like, he thinks, you know, he's very much into the longevity of a song. And can we listen to this in several years? So that challenges.
And he'll ask you some questions. There's a time we're going to meet next time. Unajua lazima uulize msanii hii wimbo. Hii wimbo. Nini unajaribu kupata cross?
Yeah.
Kabla tuweke beats.
I've never had a, like he'll just edit out, but I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
All right.
Joyce has an initiative I would like her to talk about.
Yes.
I think it's amazing.
Thanks, Gigi. So it's called Epic Women. Epic stands for Empowered, Prayerful, Influential, and Christ-like Women. So I'm an epic babe. Okay?
All right.
And the whole idea of it, it was kind of birthed from a lot of people kind of just wanting to either walk with me or just kind of hear from me as far as just navigating life, you know, as a modern woman of faith. So, you know, I mean, I like to look nice, I like to have a good time, but how do you juggle that in today's culture, you know, as a Christian woman in modern society? So really it's a community, it's a movement of women who are seeking to be unapologetically Christ-like as we're navigating life, we're navigating relationships, we're navigating culture. So we have quarterly meetings in person. It's like a social gathering, so there's a nice cocktail and then we get inside for, you know, a nice conversation. And then in between that, we'll be having like virtual online meetings as well. So
what is like what happens like when you're having a conversation? Like what are you talking about? What topics?
So we're trying to make the topics as real as possible in terms of the issues and the challenges that women are facing and how to then navigate that as a modern woman of faith. So this last one, we were talking about the secrets of unfading beauty. Like how, because looks are so important in our society, whether we want to like that or not.
Just look at the hands.
Just look at the hands.
Ukiamuka asubuhi unaangalia roho direct. Tafuta sura pia bana. Wacha story. Yeah.
So I mean, those things matter, and for a lot of women, it then really plays on their self-esteem. But I think as a believer, your question always has to be, what does God say about this? Though? Like, is God looking at beauty to the same standards that I am? And so how do I still look good but still honor God, like in terms of what He's actually calling beauty? And if you read the scriptures, what he considers beauty is so different. That doesn't mean don't look nice, because I know there's some guy who's going to try to come for me and say, oh, the scripture says don't adorn your hair. Please, my friend, if Queen Esther could spend 6 months in a milk bath,
being soaked
in a milk bath, I'm allowed to look good for a minute. So, you know, it's topics like that. But even like talking about relationships, because, you know, people in church struggle. Like, it's a hospital. Let's not lie and pretend that we're perfect people, because we're not. We're going through things. Really tough things as well.
Kanisa ni hospitali.
Kabisa.
Mtazamaji. Look for your patient with wisdom. Yes, unaenda hapo kudeta ujue unatafuta patient. Kila mtu watu wake. It is, right? Yeah. All right. So you've mentioned Apple, the I is influential, and there are so many people like who said who are trying to get into politics. What are your thoughts on that? Because anyway, like, you know, when a righteous man rules, the people rejoice. So what about Christians who are trying to say, I want to take my stab at this thing. Let me get into politics. We're seeing a lot of them even now. I
mean, I think it's a good thing, you know, because you always have to remember that quote for if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem.
Right.
So I think it's so easy to sit on the sidelines and just point fingers and complain, huyu hata hana hivi, huyu hana huyu nini nini. So I mean, I say big up to them that they're doing something. I don't know if I have the courage to do that. Although if you want to call me for DG, like I'll take the calls.
Yeah.
But I have family members as well who are seeking to run and get into office. I think the key thing is, you know, what's the motive behind it?
Exactly.
Because I think that's where we always get it wrong. So we'll have guys go in, but them they're just ready to line their pockets. Unajua wameenda wameshoneshwa trouser mfuko inafika huku chini because you're ready to just pack that thing.
Pack it in. Yeah.
So I think it's something to be celebrated. I do think there are challenges though. Sometimes I think even as Christians sometimes are the hardest people to give support. Like they will shikilia that support, and it's sad to say, but sometimes we are the least supportive people of even our own. And unfortunately, so many times I think we've seen us draw back into tribal lines and things like that. So I think it's important. It's an important statement that the church is rising up and people are actually stepping out to make a difference and to practice what we're preaching. So don't just complain on the sidelines. If you're not praying, don't just be complaining, go and do something.
Na pia vote.
And especially,
hauna hata kura. Na uko
shut it.
Chukua kura and try and make a change. All right, Gigi.
New song.
Yes.
Hey.
Jibu.
Tuingie tu.
But before that, which is the kamera ya nyumbani? Yake. Mwile. Kuna wale watu wanakuwatch saa hii, wanatafuta literally an answer. They don't know where it's going to come from. You know, hata hawaski. You know how they say the answer will be yes, no, wait. I don't know how in theory that is. But people are looking for answers in different ways and means. And somebody who's watching is just looking for hope. Maybe before you perform, talk directly to them.
Thank you. I think having kind of been in a valley where I also questioned God's love and God's care, I think one of the things you have to allow yourself to do is to let God's love lift you. I got to a point where I was so just upset and struggling with what had happened in my life that instead of running to Him, I was running away from Him. And I think that's the natural tendency that all of us do. So my first challenge is to just let God's love lift you. You know, step aside yourself for a minute and just reflect back on everything else that He has done for you. When I consider that I could have lost my dad in 1998 at the bomb blast immediately, but yet God gave me 23 years with Him, and He was able to see all His children get married and all of that good stuff. There's still so much to be grateful for. And so that tells me that as much as things didn't go my way, I can still count on this God to hold my future and know that I am safe in His hands. So whoever you are, whatever it is you're going through, I pray that you would also let His love lift you. May you run to Him and not from Him. May He be the answer to your tears, your heartbreak, every desire that you have. He is faithful to His word.
All right, amen. So twende kwa jibu sasa. Ndo wasikie jibu.